Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. My name is Crown, and today I'm going to read you some very interesting stories that I hope that you're gonna love. And now, without further ado, let's go! A couple of months ago, someone broke into my home via the garage and stole my wife's purse from her car in that garage. I'm leaving out specific details beyond that because they are material to pose a criminal case pending and civil case. I'm getting there. I called the police immediately after the burglary, and they weren't interested. Fine. I have a smartphone and credit card notifications on. I told my wife don't cancel the cards. Sure enough, he got gas down the street. I got footage from them. He then went shopping elsewhere. Every time he used the card, we cancelled it. We got footage, statements, witnesses, and or evidence from several different places. I then put it all together and gave it to the cops. Despite this, the police told me it likely still wouldn't go anywhere, and if it does, it will be slow. That's fine. I waited for them to finish the report. Then I did a public records request. This gave me the burglar's name, vehicle, and plate number. I used that to obtain an address online which may or may not be current. For reference, from the point of the story to this point is about 3 months. The report was a gold mine. One of the police officers was able to identify the man as having previously been arrested for similar crimes. There is more here I'm leaving out for brevity. Today, that's when the petty and totally accidental revenge begins. I drove by the address and realized it was a condo community. The address wasn't specific enough, so even if he does live here, I need a unit number. Let's start with confirming if the vehicle is at least on the property and go from there. Sure enough, it was, and he was sitting in it drunk and still drinking. The guy on the truck matched the description, but I wanted to confirm the plate. He didn't have his front plate on, legally required but almost never enforced, so I pulled into a nearby spot and wanted to wait him out. Then I'd walk around the back of the vehicle to see the plate. While I'm looking down at my phone and looking to see if there is a main office number for this community, I hear a loud noise. I looked up to see that he had pulled forward out of his parking spot and made a hard right into the parking pavilion. If that describes it, he hit a pole and sideswiped a car. He started backing up and making a 20-point turn to wiggle his massive truck into this tiny spot. There is also a beer can on the ground in his former parking spot. I drive around but behind him, confirm the plate, it's 100% him. Leave the community for the drugstore parking lot on the next block, then call the local cops. Non-emergency line. The police officer assigned calls me for more details before going. I tell him my sob story and he hooks me up with the burglar's unit number and wishes me the best. I then get to watch through the gate as the police arrive. The guy is still in his truck. He stumbles out and they cuff him and assist him into their back seat. Not sure what happens next. Really, dude, I just wanted to confirm your address so I could take you to small claims for the stuff you stole. I didn't expect your drunk butt to be playing bumper cars. Edit. Later this week, I called the prosecutor's office, haven't spoken since mid-November. Want to see if there are plans to move forward and if I should hold off on a civil case. Not needed if criminal court orders restitution, or proceed. If given the green light, I'll mail the guy a demand letter. Typical response period 30 days, but I'll do 45 or 60. I have reasons for wanting to hold this off until March. Call it a scheduling conflict. Unless he agrees to a settlement, take him to small claim court. It is cheap in our country to file. No lawyers allowed, just one-on-one. We will have a mediation hearing and, if no settlement reached, a court appearance. Given his history, I expect a no-show and a default judgment. So I'll have to look into things like wage garnishment, but we're talking 6+ months down the road, so my planning at this point is to save that for later, if necessary. My ex of 3 years bought me a beautiful sweater for our first Christmas. I loved it. I saved it only for special occasions and only got to wear it twice before I noticed it was missing. I was only 15 at the time and had friends over often. One particular friend, we will call her C, came and spent Thanksgiving break with me at my mom's. Everything was great. We had a couple wine cooler apiece, under adult supervision and never enough to get drunk. And we smoked a little weed supplied by her mom, and my mom knew about it. And everything was going great. She went home the week before Christmas break started. This wasn't out of the usual for us. We'd been friends for 11 years. Christmas dinner with my ex's family rolls around and the sweater comes up missing. I dig through everything, flip it upside down. It's gone. Nowhere to be found. So I lose my mind. I broke down crying, knowing my boyfriend at the time would be pissed. He was a very abusive person that did a lot of really bad things. I did a full inventory on my stuff. I didn't have a lot. So it didn't take long. I noticed that 2 very expensive diamond necklaces, a 1-carat diamond ring that was my grandmother's, $240 from my piggy bank, and 2 pairs of shoes are missing, along with roughly 22 various articles of clothing. I text C, and the conversation goes as follows. Hey C, have you seen any of this stuff lately? I might have left it at your mom's or something. I list every item in intense detail. No, sorry, but I'll look for you if you want. That would be awesome, thanks. See you at Christmas. I arranged to stay at hers for a week after Christmas, and we'd be having a little get-together with some friends. A couple weeks passed and it's time for me to go to C's. I pack up only my charger and phone because I have a hunch. When I get there, all is well. No one thinks anything of my sparse belongings because C and I regularly borrow each other's clothes. The night of the get-together, I excuse myself to go up to her room for a while, so I can take some Advil for a headache and be alone for an hour or so. I go upstairs and gently shut and lock her door. I flip her room upside down and find everything that was missing. It was a considerable amount of stuff, all hidden under her bed. Stuff I never would have left behind. It covered the entire top of her bed. I take a picture for evidence and call my mom. My mom asks what I want to do and I tell her that I want to give her one more chance to fess up before I press charges and never speak to her again. I go back downstairs about an hour or so later. Everyone's glad to see I'm feeling better and everything is great. I pull C aside and ask her one more time to her face about my missing stuff. I gently remind her that it's about $1,000 worth of stuff, probably more, and that there can be seriously repercussions. She laughs it off and shakes her head, indicating she has no clue where my stuff is. So I go to her mom and ask her if I can talk to her really quickly. Her mom and I discuss the situation and I show her proof of C lying to me and not fessing up. Meanwhile, my stuff is literally lying on C's bed. Her mom had caught her in serious lies before, but nothing as bad as theft like this. She asks what I want to do, and I apologize to her, saying that I have to press charges. I do not appreciate being stolen from or lied to. C's mom totally agrees, and we continue with the night. Things are awkward between C and I, but that's okay. All of my stolen items litter her bed. Her eyes go wide and her face turns a deep dark red. She stutters and mumbles something about, I didn't know it was there. Oh, B, I'm sorry. I give her a smug look and ask her mom to drive me home. When I got home, I called the police and informed them that C was in possession of insert list of stolen items here. They go to her house, find my items, cuff her, and she spends the weekend in juvenile. She ended up getting 150 hours of community service probation until she was 18, she was 15 at the time, and she was never allowed to go to a friend's house or have a friend come over again until she moved out. Let's just say don't steal from me and then lie about it. If she'd been honest to me, I would have forgiven her and we would have parted ways amicably. But screw that witch. So I'm 15 years old and in the foster care system, and my current foster parents are quite manipulative. For example, they take stuff off me, and when I ask a while later they say that they give it back. and I must have destroyed it for one of my silly TikToks. Yes, I destroy stuff for TikTok, but typically that nonsense is already broken and beyond repair, usually fished out of an e-waste bin. Note that in my situation, my foster parents are not the guardians. I have a social worker who is a guardian, and he barely contacts me, not gonna lie. Anyway, a recent incident was enough for me to start standing my ground. I had a Google Pixel that I received as a gift, and when I had a breakdown over an unrelated incident, they blamed it on my phone and demanded for it. Keep in mind, this is my phone and I've been paying the bills for the SIM card and so on. I refused and they ended up calling the cops on me and claimed that the phone was stolen from them and they wanted it to be returned. I had no proof of purchase when I was gifted it, so to avoid getting arrested, I gave in and handed over the phone. They didn't even let me take out the SIM card, because when I asked if I could, they refused because the SIM card was theirs and not mine, even though it was under my name and I've been paying for it. Long story short, I never got the phone back, so I got a phone to use temporarily, a Galaxy S5, and went to my cell carrier to get a replacement SIM card, and I was happy with that after a while. My boyfriend decided to gift me a better phone, an iPhone 7, for my birthday recently. And knowing the foster parents, they were going to try the same tricks, so when he ordered it, I told him the situation and asked for screenshots of his ePay receipts and bank statements saying that he purchased the iPhone. He sent them all to me and I saved them onto a folder on my phone as well as on iCloud, so if they get deleted, I still have them. I even have screenshots on my phone bills that has my name and info clearly visible on them. A few weeks into using this phone and nothing has arises yet. But once something goes down and they try that little trick again, I'm gonna politely explain to the police what's been happening and show them the screenshots. I will update you guys if they try playing that card again, but until then, goodbye. Edit. So people in the comments are claiming I doxed my foster parents / caregivers, so I'm gonna clear things up. There is an NSFL website called Clay Party that is similar to Kiwi Farms. They dox and harass people in a part of a certain community, and I'm one of their victims. They have been trying to find any way to cancel me, including sending false accusations to my foster and biological family. They have been known to impersonate me in Photoshop screenshots as well as tracking victims into doing stuff I cannot say. I just want to make things clear. I have never doxed anyone. About 10 years ago, I worked in a team of scientists, which is almost enough to drop the mic right here. One hard day, our boss told me others perceive me as contemptuous. I was shocked beyond words. I certainly did not feel superior or feel contempt for anyone. I was so flabbergasted, I was silent for probably 2 solid minutes. I asked for an example of when something I had said or done gave someone that feeling. He said he couldn't divulge that information. Okay, then I asked for an example he had experienced or observed himself. He said he had none. I said, since I have no clue what I've done, how am I supposed to adjust my behavior? He said he didn't know. I said, basically then, I just need to not talk. He said he wasn't sure. I knew right then what to do. I'm pretty introverted, and as a child I didn't talk for years. I rarely spoke until I was about 13 years old. Got lots of notes from teachers about how quiet I was. I would answer questions when directly asked, but rarely spoke otherwise. So my malicious compliance in that situation was easy for me. I just stopped talking except when asked a question. I made a point of smiling, showing that I was listening, nodding agreement, and so on. I was extremely polite and agreeable. Pretty soon some big issues came up that I had specific knowledge about. I knew how to solve them, but no one else asked. A huge conflict came up between 2 of our labs because one group wanted it one way and the other group had a different opinion. They fought and fought. People were having secret meetings in their offices to try to win. And when they finally arrived at the action, they chose it was wrong. In fact, both groups were wrong, and the whole experiment failed. It's important to know no one was hurt, no property damage or anything like that. Just a lot of wasted time and expensive materials. But I never said a word. This went on for 3 weeks. The lab's budget had to be revised, and they had to cut travel expenses, which I was okay with because I didn't want to travel anyway. So, no conferences for anyone. This is a big deal for a lot of researchers because it's how we gain notoriety to be able to get grants, among other things. Finally, a colleague asked me why I hadn't spoken for so long. Why I was so quiet. Was something wrong? I explained about being told others perceive me as contemptuous. She had the same expression I did when I was told. She said she didn't believe anyone had said bad about me. I honestly was surprised again because I believed our boss. Then she asked me what I thought about the experiment design and why it was failing. I told her about the solution I believed would work, which was actually surprisingly simple. She recognized it had a good chance of succeeding and asked me to share the idea at the next department meeting. At that meeting, she asked me again in front of everyone and I repeated what I told her. Several people asked why I hadn't spoken up sooner. I explained that I had been given feedback that indicated that I caused others to feel uncomfortable. The whole table of colleagues also looked stunned at me. I said I was committed to not causing such bad feelings and couldn't figure out how to communicate because the feedback didn't give me any specific guidance. Everyone looked at the director at that point, and he said, "We shouldn't discuss personal issues." Ha! It was my issue, so I said, if anyone here perceives me as contemptuous and said as much to our boss, that is a reason I haven't been talking. If you don't feel that way about me, let me know and I will stop being silent. Someone else said we needed to hold a vote so there wouldn't be any more confusion or talking behind anyone's back. They voted 100% for me to talk normally and that they didn't agree that I was ever contemptuous. That director slowly stopped coming to work months by months after this episode, until he was only showing up 1 day a week. Finally, he took a lab position elsewhere and one of my colleagues was promoted to director. And the experiment was a success. The next year, I got a grant to keep the research going and paid for 2 people to be able to travel to the related conference to present our findings.
And now we have reached the end of today's stories. Thank you for watching and see you next time.